Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, January the 17th, 2021. It is currently 7:36 a.m. Central Time, and I'm here at Victory Baptist Church, located in Ovalo, Texas. Yes, I'm sitting here inside of an empty sanctuary. And yes, it's another Sunday where we will not have in-person services, which continues to be extremely frustrating. I think the plan is for next Sunday at 11 a.m., we're going to have an in-person celebration of the Lord's Supper. I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to have that's it. Everyone's going to come in at 11, and we're going to partake of the Lord's Supper. So pray that everything goes well there. I've got to structure everything in a way that hopefully will keep everyone safe, and that we can do everything in a reverent and respectful and biblical way. So that is the plan. But for this morning, I'm here for another day of live broadcasting from Victory Baptist Church. I've got the microphone, I've got the laptop, I've got iPads, I've got all this content that I want to discuss with you today. And hopefully over, I don't know how many hours, I'm going to be here till at least noon this morning. And then the plan is to come back this afternoon for at least a couple of hours of live broadcasting. So hopefully in the midst of all of that, I will produce something that will be challenging, beneficial, interesting, edifying for you. And hopefully I can produce something that you'll feel worthy to share with people you know. So that's the goal. That's what we're going to try to do. And let's get right to it. I thought I would start this morning with something I heard at about 4 a.m. At about 4 a.m., I was listening to Fundamental Broadcasting Network. I think it was around 4 a.m., 4:30. And they told this story. And as soon as they told the story, I was like, okay, remember the story. 2, I need to verify if story is true. And 3, I want to share it with everybody. So I remembered the story. I looked up the story to find an account of the story. I have not yet been able to verify if it is true. All right. Now, of course, on Christian radio, they just told the story as if it was true, but I am Mr. Skeptical. So unless you give me a source, unless that source is a primary source, I'm not going to believe it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you the story, and I'm going to read an account of the story. That's a better way to explain what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to challenge you and ask for your help in trying to verify if this story is true or if it's simply made up, it's just a myth, and if we should not use it within the Christian world. So I'm going to give you the account. If the account is true, it is very clever and I think very profound. If it's not true, then it's really sad that it has been used by so many Christians. As soon as I started doing a search for it, immediately all of these accounts of the story popped up, it looks like most of them are from Christian websites. So I wasn't able to find immediately, like, here's the primary source, and none of the Christian websites offered the source for the story. They're like, here's the story, it's true. Now go tell your atheist friends this story and blow their minds. And I'm like, I'm not telling an atheist this story at all until I can verify its truthfulness. But here's the story. Here's the story. All right. The story is given a number of different titles. Most commonly, it appears it's called "Who Made It?" Who made it? The one I have here, I tried to find this story from I don't know if it's a Christian website or not, but it's called "Reasoning of Sir Isaac Newton." Reasoning of Sir Isaac Newton. Here is the story. You may have heard the often told account of how Sir Isaac Newton had skilled craftsmen build him a scale model of our solar system, which was then displayed on a large table in Newton's home. Right? Now, this is the way the story goes. So Sir Newton, he finds some skilled craftsmen to build him a scale model of our solar system, which was then displayed on a large table in Newton's home. Not only did the excellent workmanship stimulate the various sizes of the planets and their relative proximities, but it was a working model in which everything rotated and orbited when a crank was turned. So here's this, very detailed model of the solar system. And when the crank was turned, everything would orbit the way it was supposed to orbit. Everything moved, and you could see you could see the solar system and how it operates. That's the best way I'll put it. One day, while Newton was in his study, a friend came by who happened to be also a great scientist. Examining the model with enthusiastic admiration, he exclaimed, "My, what an exquisite thing this is! Who made it?" Without looking up from his book, Sir Isaac Newton answered, "Nobody." Stopping his inspection, the visitor turned and said, "Evidently you misunderstood my question. I asked, who made this?" Newton, no doubt enjoying the chance to teach his friend a lesson, replied in a very serious tone, "Nobody. What you see here just happened to assume the form it now has." His friend responded, "You must think I'm a fool. Of course somebody made it, and he's a genius. I want to know who he is." Laying his book aside, Newton arose and laid a hand on his friend's shoulder, saying, "This thing is but a puny imitation of a much grander system whose laws you know, and I'm not able to convince you that this mere toy is without a designer and maker. Yet you, as an atheist, profess that the great original form which the design is taken has come into being without either design or maker. Now tell me, by what sort of reasoning do you reach such an insufficient conclusion?" That's a powerful story. Here's a model of the solar system. It's intrinsic. It's beautiful. It's well made. It's his word, exquisite. I think that's the word the visitor used. Exquisite. This exquisite, beautifully designed model of the solar system. And he walks in and he sees it, and he's blown away by its craftsmanship. And he's like, "Who made it?" And Sir Isaac Newton was like, "Nobody. It just came into existence. It just came into the existence with the form that you now see. It's just there. Nobody made it. It just happened. It just designed itself. It just, all the pieces just came together by chance and time." Now, of course, Sir Isaac Newton didn't use the words that I'm using, but I'm trying to, expand on the story. And the guy's like, "You must think I'm crazy. You must think I'm a fool. Who made this? Obviously, someone made it." And then Sir Isaac Newton, and I'm going to go back to the story, he says, "This thing is this," pointing to the model of the solar system, "is but a puny imitation of a much grander system whose laws you know, and I'm not able to convince you that this mere toy is without a designer and a maker. Yet you, as an atheist, you profess to believe that the original thing, which obviously is greater than the model, you profess to believe that the great original from which the design is taken has come into a being without either design or maker." And then he asks him, by what sort of reasoning can you reach this kind of conclusion? How did you reach that kind of conclusion? Now, I think that is a beautiful illustration. Now, I do not know if the story is true. And if you can find out if the story is true or if it's made up, then if it's made up, we don't ever need to tell the story again, but we can use the example. The example is still powerful, right? If you see a model of the solar system and it's well designed, it's beautiful, it's unique, it's exquisite, it's well crafted, it's well designed, whatever word you want to use to describe it, it's just this amazing piece of work. And you look at that model of the solar system and you're like, wow, that is amazing. Who made this? You have to stop and at least consider your reasoning. If you believe someone made a model of the solar system, but you don't believe anyone made the solar system, you got to at least say, wait a minute, that there seems to be something not sufficient with that kind of reasoning. If someone made the model of the solar system and the solar system itself is far greater and there are laws controlling it, and it obviously demonstrates design, then why would you not believe someone made it? And here's the thing. If someone made it, then that is that's where we find our purpose for existing. That's where we find truth. That's where we find morality. So if someone made it, then your life's pursuit is to find out who made it, because that's where your purpose will be found. That's where morality will be found. That's where truth will be found. And that's what you want to then dedicate your life to. And of course, as Christians, we believe we know who made it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and we believe that's where our purpose is found. That's where morality is found. That's where truth is found. I think it's a powerful illustration. Now, it would be horrible if we find out that the story is not true. It would be horrible. But the illustration is powerful. Now, what some Christians will say, well, it doesn't matter if it's true, the illustration is good. No, it really matters if it's true, because if it's not true, you don't want to tell the story that this actually happened. You don't want to tell the story that way, because then you don't convince someone of truth by using a made-up story or a lie. So if you can find out if it's true, let me know. newsif@yahoo.com. newsif@yahoo.com. That's newsif@yahoo.com. But I think the thing to take from it this morning is whenever we come across pretty much anything, it doesn't matter. I just picked up the iPad right here. We see it, we look at it, and we know, just inherent deep within us, obviously someone made it. We don't see anything, no matter how simple it is. I'm looking over here at a chair. This chair is simple. There's nothing unique about it. There's nothing exquisite about it. It's just a normal chair. But everything in me tells me someone had to make that chair. That chair did not make itself. Even if I would have put all of the pieces of this chair on a floor, and I leave it there, and I come back a million years from now, that those pieces did not just simply form into a chair. Those pieces are going to just basically disintegrate and be no more. But they're not going to rise up from laying there and form themselves. They're not going to turn into something. It doesn't work that way. Everything runs down, not goes the opposite direction. Everything is falling apart, decaying, corrupting, dying. That's the way things work. And you just throw out this theory. Here's all of these materials, and they just form into this completely beautifully designed solar system where this rotates this orbits this way, and this orbits this way, and this has to be here, and this has to be here for all of this to work, and everything just seems to work. Now, yes, does it show signs of what we call the fall? Yes. Obviously, on this planet, we have death, we have decay, we have disease, we have suffering, we have pain. But still, for life to even exist on this earth, everything has to be so very precise for things to exist. Or you go just a little bit, you can go just certain chemicals not present. Next thing you know, it won't sustain life. The sun, the distance of the sun, everything just has to be so precise for everything to work. Yet you look at all of that and you believe, just boom, it happened. It just goes against everything inside of us. Everything I look at. Someone had to make it. Someone had to make it. Someone had to make it. And it just seems crazy that someone would see a model of the solar system and say someone had to make it. Who made it? But never bother to go outside, look at the up into the heavens and say, who made it? Who made it is such a fundamental question that every person should ask who's alive. Who made all of this? Because whoever made it is in charge. Whoever made it determines how it works. Whoever made it is where we find purpose. We don't find purpose looking into us, into ourselves. We don't even find purpose looking into the creation itself. We have to find purpose in the Creator. The one who did the design, they designed its purpose. They know its purpose. They know what they designed it for. And when we look to the scriptures, we know that everything was designed ultimately for the glory of God. So everything was made by him, for him. So it is a very powerful story. I I would just like to find out if it is true. So Sir Isaac Newton, who made it? You can let me know. I just wanted to start this morning just sharing that since I heard it this morning. Again, Christian Radio just read the story, was like, it's true. Basically there was no discussion of whether it was true or not. And, well, we need to find out. It's a powerful illustration. If it's true, it's even more powerful because now we can tell the story without any fear of someone, saying that to an atheist and an atheist doing 5 minutes of research and come back going, no, the story is fraudulent. Well, then guess what? The impact of the example will be lost because they'll just look at you for sharing fraudulent information. So if you can find out, let me know, and then we'll do an update at some point and find out if it's true, tell everyone if it's true or false. All right, we'll stop right there. I'll be back on the air shortly. Thanks for listening. You can contact me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. God bless.